Hey everybody, how are you? I am glad to be here. My name is Dawn Gatling and I am the founder of A New Dawn Soul Therapy. And as a soul therapist, I help helpers and healers heal from unresolved trauma and navigate their own soul awakening process so that they can finally enjoy life, avoid being stuck and overwhelmed, and so that they can fulfill their own purpose. They may to make the impact that they came here to make. And I know of no greater helper and healer than a mom, being a mom. So, soul therapy is really all about making and maintaining a connection to our own soul. Why is that important? Well, it's important because our soul is the very essence of who we are. It contains the very DNA that makes us us. And in that way, connecting to our souls means that we're tapped into that very thing that makes me me and that thing that makes you you. And so it requires a depth of introspection, of doing your inner work and really focusing on yourself. And I don't know about you, but as a mom, I found that very, very difficult to do. So today I'm here because I'm going to talk to you about soul therapy for moms. So I've been a mom for 24 years. So 2.5 decades almost of my life I have spent mothering, being somebody's mother. And I remember the days. I remember the days of diapers, of daycares, of snotty runny noses, of oh my God, what is in that diaper, of croup, of ear infections, of immunizations, of school, of the incessant worry, is my baby going to be okay? Am I going to be a good mom? Can I really do this? So I remember those days, even though they were a long time ago, but I remember those days. I remember the days of the awkward middle childhood. Do you know about that? Some of you are there now. So I don't know, somewhere around the ages of 8 to 12, 13-ish, is this stage where, you know, the teeth, do they want to fall out or do they want to grow in? The time when the voice tends to get a little bit deeper, the time when little breast buds start to emerge, and the time of just feeling like maybe they don't quite fit in as well as they would like, and simultaneously feeling like they fit in everywhere and they don't even sense their own awkwardness. So I remember that middle childhood. I remember the autonomy of those teen years, of them trying to figure out who they are, how they want to show up in this world, what messages and legacies do they want to leave, what character traits do they really embrace, and which ones do they not. So the autonomy of the teen years wasn't always comfortable, but it wasn't nearly as bad as they told me it was going to be either. So I remember that. And even now, as I'm adjusting to being a parent of grown people, my son is almost 24 and he's married. He's somebody's whole husband. And my daughter is almost 19 and, she's in the middle of her freshman year of college and started her own business. And as I find myself almost to the empty nest syndrome, COVID kind of threw a wrench in the game. But as I find myself almost empty nest, I'm adjusting to what kind of mother am I for them now? What do they need from me now? And how different is that really than when they needed me, when they scraped their knees when they were two? And so, as I'm navigating this, this was a perfect time for me to be able to take this opportunity to come before you and talk about soul therapy for moms. And so, in the midst of being a mother and mothering, who are you? Who are you outside of being a mom? Now, look, I believe that being a mom, as I've already said, is the greatest helper and healer role that we know. Um, and being a mom is the most important, vital, essential position we will ever hold if we have that title. Because we are charged with raising decent human beings. There ain't no manual for that. There really isn't. So we have to do the best we can. And as we're doing all of this, and as I'm reflecting on my mothering experience, I can so see the areas where I got lost, where was me? Where was Dawn? It was all about my son and my daughter, but where did I fall into this? The moment I became a parent in 1997 was the moment it became all about them. My son was born 2 days before my birthday. So, 210 always trumped 212. So my birthday never really had much of a meaning um, when he came into the world because it was all about him, right? And in a way, it's supposed to be. It's the greatest responsibility. And so we are supposed to give for them. We are supposed to teach them and train them. But I am not of the mindset that it is supposed to be all about them. I'm of the mindset that just like an airplane, that I have to put on my oxygen mask first so that I can save my child. So I'm of that mind that we must, must take care of our own self. We must find that balance between us and them. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about during the rest of our time together here today. I'm going to review for you at least three. If we have time for a fourth bonus, I'm going to include that too. But three vital ways that you can find that balance, that you can take care of you. So I'm going to share some of the nuggets that I have learned throughout my mothering journey and how soul therapy plays out for me. So I've already said you must be good for you to be good for them. And so we hear a lot about our children being the reason for our existence. Our children for do it for them. The whole life is for them. And so I want to shift that just a little bit. Definitely, that it does have a place in our mothering role, but first and foremost, we should do it for us, right? That's how we train them, is doing it for us. And I know that for many of us, that can feel very selfish. I'm telling you, and I'm giving you full permission to be selfish in this way. You have to take care of yourself. I grew up with a very broken and traumatized mother. That passed things down to me that I had to fight for most of my life to overcome. And then that still passed down some of that to my children that they have to overcome. You see how that works? So it really, really does start with us. So the first thing I want you to do, and if you're taking notes, this is it. If I can leave you with just one thing, if if just this one thing could come across clear, I would have done my job. And that is that you have to stop giving from your own cup. Stop giving from your own cup. Now, I realize that that might fly right in the face of everything that you believe or have taught or have been taught or have seen. But stop giving from your own cup. You've heard the saying that we can't serve from an empty cup, yet many of us do, especially those of us who are helpers and healers, especially those of us who are mothers. We serve and serve, we give, we scrape the bottom of that cup when there's nothing in there. We try that and we try so hard and we do that only to be left feeling overwhelmed and burned out. And most importantly, with nothing left for ourselves. So, I mean, you don't drive a car with no gas in it. It's not going to go anywhere. If you ever ran out of gas, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I've had that experience. So you have to make sure that your cup is full. Instead, what I want you to do is learn to give from your overflow. So your very first priority is to make sure that your cup is full. Make sure that your cup is always on F, it's always full. And so as you seek that being your first priority pouring into your cup, then your cup is going to overflow. As it overflows, that's the good stuff. That's um, the good leftovers. I'm not talking about the nasty, meatloaf that's been in the refrigerator for a week leftover. I'm talking about the leftovers that get better, like Pasta. It gets better leftover. So I'm talking about those kind of leftovers because it's coming from your place of fullness. It's coming from um, the place of abundance instead of a place of lack, right? And so when we're giving and serving, and I'm talking about our children from this space, they get the best of us, not the leftovers, right? Even though I just said that thing about leftovers, but they don't get those nasty meatloaf leftovers. They get the best pasta leftovers, right? So learning how to keep your cup full and give out of your place of overflow. I'm just reminded of the many times in my life where I absolutely have made my children a priority, but sometimes I did that at my own expense. Sometimes I needed to just take care of me. Sometimes I needed to say no. And then there are other times where I needed to say yes. But because of all the times that I said yes instead of no, my yes was less. So I think about those times and I try to be very intentional, even though they need me in a different way. I still have to say, okay, well, even now, grown, if I don't pick up my phone when they call me, it's a problem. It's a problem. They're calling my husband. They're trying to figure out where I am. They're like, what's going on? I'm not sure if that'll ever change. It's kind of a sweet spot, but at the same time, it could drain me if I allowed it to. So sometimes I just have to not answer the FaceTime right away. Sometimes the text may have to wait a few moments, and that's okay. So, your number one priority is to make sure your cup is filled. Now, how do you make sure your cup is full? I'm glad you asked that because that's the second thing I want to talk about. The second thing I want to talk about is getting and staying connected to your soul. This is how you keep your cup full. And so, what does that really mean? Well, it can mean something as simple as what do you enjoy? What sparks joy for you? What's something that you think about or you see or you experience that just gives you that? And I'm pointing down around my belly, your gut, your soul area, where I imagine it is. What makes you shine? What sparks joy? What do you look forward to? What are some of the sweetest, most delicious memories that come up for you? That is an idea of you connecting to your soul. That's so what I call a soul connector. And so, an example that I have for that is one day I discovered that I liked color. Oh, I have this. Wait, which way? So I like color. And I would look around me when I discovered that. I'm like, I was surrounded, all my clothes were black, gray, and earth tones like brown and tan, no color at all. And when I figured out I like color, I'm like, I had to, it was like going down a rabbit hole. I had to really figure out when did I lose my love of color. And I had to go to a place where I remembered, like I'm looking at this right now, my cup, all those beautiful, pretty colors in there. So, I went down that rabbit hole and I learned much about myself. Now, it seems like something like that would be so insignificant, right? Like, okay, you like color. Who doesn't like color? Well, I didn't really realize that I liked color because I had dulled myself and my attempts to protect myself from, or my reactions to a traumatic lifestyle, um, a traumatic childhood, and things like that. So, that was one of the ways that I connected to my soul. So I pay attention. Things that have color draw me in. So I observe that more rather than, oh, it's too flashy or whatever my thought process was. I've changed it, so it's hard to even remember what it was. So that was an example. And I like patterns, like, you know, I like patterns and things like that. So connecting to my soul and asking myself, well, what do I really like? Ask yourself, what do I like? What sparks joy for you? What brings up that feeling for you, your mom, your kids on Christmas or on their birthday, when they feel like they are just the most important person ever in the universe? And it is your life's purpose to make sure that they feel like this. And you get so much joy from seeing their little faces light up, right? What does that for you? What does that for you? I used to have a client that she couldn't figure out, she was ashamed because she enjoyed cartoons. And she would be like, well, I just watched cartoons for a couple hours this morning. And I'm like, great, that's awesome. She's like, what? I feel so weird and strange. I'm a grown woman. Why am I watching cartoons? Well, I had to help her understand that she missed that very vital portion of her childhood due to her trauma. And so she wasn't able to live out that portion. For her would have been watching cartoons and finding joy like millions of children do and adults. And so she's doing it now as she was in her healing process. And so that just opened up the world for her. So she would, when she's feeling down, she would go to a toy store when Toys R Us were open, was open. She would go to Toys R Us and she would just walk around and just touch the stuff. And she allowed herself to do that. That was one way she connected to her soul. So I hope that within those couple of examples, you can think of some ways of how you can connect to your soul and then maintain that connection. Awareness is very important when you're talking about connecting to your soul. And I don't regret much in my life, but I do wish that I had been more aware and more present as a younger parent. Because it's hard when, and I happen to have been a single parent, it's hard to juggle the needs of your household and your children, your livelihoods completely, and be fully aware at the same time. But if I want to implore you to try that, especially if you have younger kids, they grow up so fast. And this isn't a FOMO tactic, fear of missing out, or a guilt tactic at all. This is just a gentle nudge to encourage you to take a few more moments to sit back, to settle, to relax, to increase your awareness by being, I know buzzwords we hear, mindfulness, awareness, and things like that, but they're important words. So let's not lose the meaning behind them. Um, observe your children and just be present with them, and be present with yourself as they are growing, right? You don't want to turn around and just miss a decade or two of your life. So I do implore you to do that. Increase your awareness and just take a couple of breaths. Just, and you let that exhale all the way out, and you let your shoulders fall, you unclench your jaw, and you just breathe and focus on the moment. Just do that as many times as you can. You'll pick up what I'm putting down. Trust me. The other thing you can do to maintain your soul connection is gratitude. Express gratitude. I know, gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. It's kind of like Marsha, 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 but it's so important. Oh my goodness. Um, Gratitude is the very lens through which you want to view life and you want to view your journey as a mom. It is it is soul therapy 101. It really is. Being grateful for anything and everything you can think about being grateful. If you train yourself to think about, 5 to 10 things that you're grateful for as soon as you wake up, and then right before you fall asleep at night, it could literally change your life. And I'm not talking about, oh, my kids are healthy. I'm not, like, really, really connect your feeling and your intention as you're thinking about what you're grateful for. It truly is a life changer. And one of the best ways that I know how to maintain and keep your connection to your own soul. And then meditation is another one, when it comes to staying connected to your soul. And there's no one way to meditate. So I don't know. Meditation used to feel so um, unattainable for me before. It used to seem so woo woo and so far away. And the fact that I couldn't even get my legs crossed was a whole other thing. I remember thinking, how am I supposed to do this? I can't even sit crisscross applesauce anymore. But I mean, I can now, but you know, these little things that we allow to keep us from the things that we actually need are pretty mind blowing. But there's no one way to meditate. You can jump on YouTube. There's so many guided meditations, and just go with one that fits with your soul. And when you do that, or just if it doesn't conjure up any negative feelings or anything for you, then go with it. You don't have to be worried about getting sucked into something that you can't get out of when you do things like that. Just follow your gut instinct. Um, there's tons. I share some in my own community. Every week or so, I share a meditation of however, sometimes I just take a video of the waves at the ocean. I live at the beach and for a minute or two, and we just quiet and close your eyes and just listen to that. That's a form of meditation. You can meditate as you walk. You can meditate as you do the dishes. You can sit still. You can just observe your thoughts. You can clear your mind of all thoughts. So, whatever that is for you, don't be afraid to look into it. And if you are a meditator, take your practice deeper. Go deeper. Try out a couple of different ways. You can meditate to just music. You can meditate to just pure quiet and stillness. It's a beautiful journey. And your soul loves that space. It loves to be there with you and it will communicate with you in that space. That's why meditation is so important. So, I gave you a lot about how to connect to your soul. So, do that. Do that. And then the third thing I wanted to point out to you is as you are doing this, you may remember a few moments ago, I talked about balance, right? And so, as you do this, you are cultivating balance in your life. You are evening out that seesaw, if you will, between the needs of your children and your needs to help. Now, life isn't always going to be perfect like this. It just isn't. Some days it's going to be like this, and some days it's going to be like this. You may have a day where it's like this. But the thing is to just try to keep this equilibrium right here. Just try to keep it as balanced as you can without forcing yourself, without it being stressful. If you feel you're like this and your kids' needs are weighing you down, then intentionally do those things that connect you to your soul, that make you feel alive, that make you feel loved and valuable in your own right. So that balance is very, very important. So let me see, just in a brief review, because I know I threw a lot at you. In order for you to be good, you first have to make sure that you give from your overflow. Remember, your first priority is to keep your cup full. And so that everything that you give to your world, and especially your children, comes from that good overflow space. Remember, spaghetti, not week long meatloaf. Week old meatloaf. Then you want to do this by connecting to your soul. That's how you make sure that your cup is full. And I shared many different ways that you can connect to your soul. And the three ways that I prefer to connect to my soul are increasing my awareness and expressing gratitude and meditating. So I shared those along with a couple of other ideas. So yeah, connect to your soul. Find out what gives you that spark of joy. And then in doing this, you automatically achieve that balance that is needed so much in our lives so that you don't have to constantly get lost in the sauce, so to speak, of the lives of your children and your family. And you can emerge. And these are my ways that you can get you some soul therapy for moms. And it's been a pleasure to be here with you today. Um, I know that you are getting so much, a ton of value from this virtual conference in this space. And I am just grateful to be able to be here with you today. Now, if anything that I have said sparks something in you, this is what I do. I do this for a living. And you heard me say I help helpers and healers. I'm not just mothers, but mothers are the greatest form of helper and healer that I can think of. But I help them heal from unresolved trauma. A lot of us as mothers, we struggle because we still have unhealed areas of our life. Now, there's not a mother alive that has it all down. Perfection is a myth. We're great mothers because we continue to show up in our imperfections and we embrace everything about ourselves and make it work for us. That's what makes us the bomb moms. Oh, that sounds like a good club, doesn't it? The Bomb Mom Club. Uh-oh, don't take that. But you can. Let me know if you do. The Bomb Mom Club. That's what makes it for us. Um, and so this is what I do. And I offer one-on-one sessions, but the bulk of my work I do in courses. Courses similar, it's similar in formats to this actually, but we go deeper and we have workbooks. And right now I have a program called Master Soul Awaken, and that is a 28-day program where I guide you through four very important phases of your soul awakening process. So for me and in my practice, our soul awakening journey and our healing from trauma journey are synonymous. They really are intertwined. There are spaces where they are completely separate, but they're intertwined. If you've experienced any form of childhood trauma or any trauma in your adult life, that alters the way that you parent. It can alter the way that you be, that you show up in this world. And so it's important that we can resolve as many of those issues as we can. And having someone that can walk alongside of you during that process is vital. And it was something that was missing from my life for so long. So I am that person, and I am that person for you. And so the Master Soul Awakening um, Awaken program navigates us through this journey. And by the end, you're going to feel more connected, more confident. You're going to know more about who you are, and you're going to have a roadmap of how you continue on your journey. Because I'm not going to sit here and tell you that your whole journey is 28 days. No, 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 no. So don't even think that. Um, but point A to point, I don't know what the middle of the alphabet is. That's what this journey is. And so I also have a group. It's called the Soul Therapy Circle for Helpers and Healers on Facebook. And there we get together, and I have Soul Therapy Thursdays, where it's basically like a training or a session that we gather, and we address a topic of the week or the month, whatever the theme is. We change. Sometimes I ask my community what they would like to see, and sometimes I just take the lead over what I see we need in that during that time period. But it is a wonderfully supportive, soul based community that I welcome you to there. And you can also find me on Instagram, A New Dawn Soul, and my website is a newdawnsoul.com. And there you will find all kinds of resources. I go in a little bit more detail about what I do and how I do it, as well as there are videos, there's courses on there, there are resources. There's a blog that I do need to pay more attention to. There's a blog there, and there's free. So I have different tiers. Everyone is at a different space, and it's important to me that everyone feels that they can get something from a New Dawn Soul Therapy. So I have free content and resources through the group, through videos, and then we move up levels. I have soul therapy courses that are much more affordable depending on what your budget is. And then we move up from there, the Master Soul courses. And then my signature course is called the Soul Therapy Blueprint, which we will be launching in March. So if you have enjoyed this at all, this segment of this virtual summit, I invite you to come and hang out with me in my space, A New Dawn Soul, wherever you can find me. And it is my hope that you have been inspired by what I have delivered today. And remember that you are worth it. You have to be good so that they can be good. And you are so much more than just a mom, as if that wasn't important enough. And you deserve this. So until then, I just want to, until I meet you on the other side, enjoy the rest of the conference. And I leave you with my acronym, and it is FAITH. FAITH is freedom and insight through healing. Okay? See you later, you guys. Enjoy the conference. Bye.